Tom did something that that they should have done at the federal level. He put together with his leadership and others a real jobs stimulus bill of 2009 for the state of Georgia. And when I found out about it and started talking to Tom about it, I said, Tom, this is great. It's going to eliminate the state, the tax on businesses. It had real stimuli in there. Not pretend stimuli, real stimuli. Business community was behind it. The chambers were behind it. And so what I did was, in this Intelligent Thinkers database that I have, we can break it down by state. Over 20,000 members are from the state of Georgia. So I sent them a little reminder. Jobs Act 2009. Contact your state representatives and your state senators and ask them to please vote for this. In the state house, it passed 164-4. In the Senate, it passed 43-7. And Tom would tell you, talk to him about it. I'm not making this up. Ask Tom about it. He said even some of his Democratic friends were afraid to vote against this because the first time they heard from their constituency. Our voices do matter when we allow our voices to speak collectively and in one voice against the things that will hurt our communities, our state, and our country, and for the things that will help our communities, our state, and our country. It does matter. I grew up here in Atlanta. My mother was a domestic worker. My father was a barber, a janitor, and a chauffeur, all at the same time. Because when we were growing up here in Atlanta, Dad needed 3 jobs in order to put food on the table, keep a roof over our head, and save for one of his dreams, which was to give his sons a little bit better start in life than he and my mom had. Dad literally walked off of a farm at the age of 18 with just the clothes on his back. Mom left the small farm in Douglasville, Georgia when she was 18. They ended up meeting and getting married and settled here in Atlanta. And when my dad walked off of that dirt farm in Tennessee, he didn't have an SUV. He didn't have a degree. The only kind of equity he had was sweat equity. And he converted his sweat equity into pursuing his dreams. One of his dreams was to give his sons a little bit better start in life. One of his other dreams was to one day own a whole house for his family. You see, right here in Atlanta, not too far from here, we lived in a house that I call the half a house. It had 3 rooms on one side, 3 rooms on the other side, with a wall going down the middle. Some parts of the country, they call those shotgun houses. You could fire a bullet in the front of the house and not touch anything when it came out the back door. We lived in half a house, so my brother and I, being typical kids, we would say, Dad, why do we live in a half a house? Dad said, it's a duplex. But Dad, we only live in half of it. Why do we live in a half a house? Dad said, it's a duplex. Then one day, Dad came home and told my brother, my mother, and I, get in the car. So we got in the car. This is on a Saturday. Dad's normally working on Saturday. We didn't know where we were going. We got in the car. Dad drove west on Bankhead Highway, and a few turns later, he pulled onto the little street called Albert Street, west of town. Dad pulled up in front of a little brick house with grass around it. not attached to any other house. Dad announced to my brother and my mother and I, this is our new home. We said, what? You see, in that duplex, my brother and I slept on a cot in the kitchen. Every morning we'd argue over who's supposed to take it up, and every night we'd argue over who's supposed to let it out. That's where I started to hone my early debating skills. Didn't know I was going to need them, Bob. Dad said, this is our new home. We jumped out of the car, ran up to the door. Dad walked up to the door very proudly, put the key in the front door, don't you know? Brand new house, never been lived in. We went inside and Dad said it's got 2 bedrooms, one for you boys, one for your mom and me. And I'm going to buy y'all twin beds. We said, twin beds? We thought we'd died and gone to heaven. Twin beds. My mother was in tears. She didn't know Dad had saved enough money from working 3 jobs to be able to buy that brand new house. She didn't know that Dad had even gone out and bought the house. Don't try that today, men. Not a good idea. You'll be living in that sucker by yourself. And if you got a dog, you're going to take the dog with you. Don't try that today. Dad could get away with that because that house exceeded my mother's and Dad's dream of their pursuit of happiness in the greatest country in the world. And we owe that to our grandchildren, that they will be able to pursue their dreams in the greatest country in the world. But we've got some work to do. And don't forget, we the people are still in charge of this country, and don't forget, as the words to the closing song of the 2000 Olympics reminds us, it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to do some different things. We're going to have to work a little harder, work a little smarter, as my high school teacher and one of my role models told me. Mr. Charles Johnson, my math teacher for 5 years in high school, encouraged me to go on to college. Herman Cain, in that southern drawl, never will forget this. It rung in my head all my life. Herman Cain, you can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. You just might have to work a little harder and a little longer. We can take back our country, but we're going to have to work a little harder and a little longer. And as those words said, life can be a challenge. Life can seem impossible. It's never easy when there's so much on the line. But you can make a difference. There's a mission just for you. Just look inside and you will find just what you can do. The power of one begins with believing that you hold the key to all of your believing. Just look inside and you will find just what you can do. The power of one begins with believing that you hold the key to all of your achieving. We the people are still in charge of this country. Thank you very much.